Did you get to watch the video? Jim, Pinky, and I just did our first live video together, and I wanted to provide a supplement video for you to be able to follow along on all the exercises that we did throughout our talk. So the first thing we're going to do is warm up our hands. Just a light little friction, kind of like you're washing your hands. It doesn't have to be heavy. You're not actually trying to warm them up through the friction. You're just trying to wake up your nervous system. And go ahead and add your forearms into the mix, all the different sides, in between your fingers and around your thumbs. After you said hello there, remember the Macarena dance? You're going to bring your arms out. And you're going to practice flipping your palms over. Seems pretty easy, right? But what I want you to pay attention to is if you're able to flip from your forearm or if it's coming from your shoulder. So as you flip your palm over, what you want to pay attention to is if it's coming from your forearm or if it's coming from your shoulder. So I like to hold my elbow and let the crease of my elbow face the ceiling and then turn my palm over. When you turn your palm over, sometimes the wrist, in order to get the fingers flat, the wrist will bend. So keep all that straight. Here's what it looks like from the front. We're going to take this skill and put it behind us. Bring my arm behind my back. I can flip the palm over. And if that's really easy, you can bend your elbow some more. Try not to reach up from your wrist. Keep that wrist straight and give yourself. Now, as your arm makes it higher up your back, you may feel some tension on your shoulder. So don't force anything. You can keep your arm low and do some shoulder circles to warm it up. And it'll get easier over time too. Now we're going to try some shoulder shrugs in a box, or kind of like a big circle. So from the side I'll show you. You're going to squeeze your shoulders forward like you're really cold, and then while they're forward you're going to squeeze them forward and up all the way towards your ears, and while they're squeezing up you're going to go up and back, and while they're squeezing together you're going to bring them down, and then you're going to relax and shake it up. All right, how often do you have your arms above your shoulders or even above your head? Not often enough, you say? Well, pretend you're inside of a globe and that you've got paint on the palms of your hands, and your job is to paint the entire inside surface of that sphere. So you're going to start with your hands in front of you and trace the inside of your sphere, coming down, and then move out a little bit, paint the next strip, and continue all the way around your globe. You might experience some popping in your shoulders. If that's the case, you'll have to paint that another day. Don't force it, in other words. Work with the range that you have and take notice of which spots didn't get painted and see if that improves over time. And once you've gotten the front part of your globe, you're going to reach behind you. I like to go sideways for this one. And see how much of your globe you can paint behind you. To reach in different directions, but it can feel good. One of my favorite hand exercises is also quite simple. It's not always easy, but it is pretty simple. You're going to spread out your fingers and place them on a flat surface. Here, I'll tilt the table so you can see what we're doing. Spread out the fingers, flatten them out. And what you're looking for is that all the skin on the bottoms of your fingers and palm are touching the table or the ground. So if there's any bubbling up or buckling of the knuckles, you're going to try to flatten those out. Sometimes when you're opening the thumbs, they'll bend at this last joint. So if that happens, then just close that angle a little bit so that you can have a flat hand. And then once your hands are flat, you'll straighten your elbows out and you can shift side to side and front to back. And that front to back is when my thumbs really want to curl, so I have to think about that. Now if you want to add a little bit of extra load, you can take it to the ground on your hands and knees and do the same thing. Shifting side to side, front to back, maybe some circles. If your hand doesn't want to flatten all the way out right now, you can use a sock or some fabric and place it under your hand or in the palm so that you can start to work on flattening your hand. All right, keep those socks handy. You're going to want to get a thick pair and roll it up into a ball. And once it's nice and firm, we're going to use it to stretch the thumbs out. So this meaty part of the thumb on my right hand is going to be stretched by the meaty part of the thumb on the left hand. So I'm going to place the right hand over the sock ball, and I need to get up above it, and then pressing into the ball, I'm going to use this top hand to provide a little bit of traction. So initially you're just moving the skin. You're not going to hurt anything. And I like to press in different directions. So you can even get the other fingers as well. It will flatten out your sock. So when you go to do the other hand, just put it the tall side up and then smash it down and use your other hand to stretch the bottom thumb. So use your thumb like a joystick. You're going to use the other hand to hold the thumb, but the motion is going to be coming from down at the base of the thumb joint, not at the top. So as you hold it, you'll move your joystick in a circle and find the sticky spots. Sometimes it's helpful to use your other fingers to pull down as you pull your joystick thumb back and around. And you might be able to see how that stretches the tissue over the thumb. And then you can practice opposition, which is when you use your thumb to touch your other fingertips. Fingertip to fingertip. And if you need a little stress ball, you can use that sock again and press through the fabric, really trying to get the fingertips to meet each other. This next exercise or stretch I think of as like a motorcycle stretch. You know, that vroom vroom motion. Each of your fingers are going to curl into a fist, and you're going to use your thumb to hold down those first two fingers. And with your arm by your side, so your elbow's under your shoulder, your wrist is in the same line, you're going to bend at the wrist as your elbow opens, and then you'll bring it back up. So from the side, same thing. You're going to curl all the fingers. The thumb's going to hold the first two down, and you'll bend your wrist, and you'll come on down and back up. Here's some quick self-massage techniques you can use. You're going to use one hand to squeeze the meaty part of your forearm on both sides. And then you'll just wiggle your fingers, and you can probably see, but you'll also be able to feel those muscles move under your fingertips. And then press a new spot and work your way up the forearm. For your fingertips, or just for your fingers, you're gonna hold on to the skin around the fingers and move it around the bones. So a little twizzling action. I can see how my skin is moving around the bones. That feels good on all of your fingers. You certainly can do it for your thumbs as well. Next up, we're going to try some stretches to help you expand your reach on those banjo chords. So here's a skeleton of a hand, and each of your 4 fingers has 3 bones, and where you see this yellow bar is where your fingers meet the palm of your hand. And you're going to be using your other hand to stretch between the bottom bones of each of the fingers. So you're not going to stretch up here, you're going to stretch down here. You're just going to spread them out like so. The other thing that might help your hands with chords and even picking is some individual finger exercises. So with your hands flat on a table or on the ground, you'll just lift one finger at a time without letting your palm or the other fingers buckle or puff up. You can also try exercises like curling one finger at a time. And that one's a little difficult. You can probably see all my other fingers pop up. So I'm just going to gently hold those knuckles down as I practice curling that finger. And same with the pinky. That last exercise we did would be called finger extension. And there's another way we can practice finger extension. And that's with your elbow on the table, under your shoulder, and your wrist goes into extension, and then each of the fingers go into extension. Now what you want to watch for here is with what the other fingers, and especially the thumb, are doing. So as I'm stretching this pinky, you can see that those other fingers get kind of lazy. So I'm going to reach those back as well as I do an individual finger stretch. Good. Now from the side, we'll be able to see something different. So elbows under your shoulder and bent. You're going to bend the wrist back and then add the finger. Make sure the wrist doesn't pop back up when you're stretching your fingers. Spread those fingers out. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I hope those hand exercises really help you out. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. More videos are coming. Jim and I are also going to meet again next week for another live Q&A. So have a great day and enjoy playing. See you next time.